Greetings, family. We are live. Absolutely fantastic, blacktastic. Looking forward to another really interesting interactive show with the family here on the Sister Shanice show. And as you can see, we've got Brother Ldr Mbandaka in the house. Wonderful, wonderful. And as you know, when we've got Brother Ldr in the house, it's going to be a really interesting, deeply insightful educational program today. As you can see from the heading, the theme is going to be about Haiti, our beloved Caribbean country. Haiti, as you know, major challenges being hurled at it left, right, and center. And so, we're going to be talking about Haiti today because we want the people of Haiti to know that we hold them dearly in our hearts, that our spirit is with them for their successful outcome. We know only too well why they're being targeted as a people, but we want to also let the powers that be know that we're watching everything that's going on in Haiti right now. But before we actually go into the meat of the show and the discussion, let's welcome our beloved Ldr Mbandaka. Welcome, Ldr. How are you?
Tendai Mwari, my dear sister, Rumbid Zokuna Mwari, Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. It is a joy to be an African and a joy and a blessing to be on your show, Sister Shanice show, ministering to the most important and the most beautiful people on the planet, the sons and daughters of Africa. We say again, Rumbid Zokuna Mwari, Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. And can I just crown that, my dear sister Shanice, by saying we are especially thankful to the Creator and the ancestors. We say, Kudzai Mudzimu Mukuru, give praises unto our great ancestors for you, for your spirit, for your wisdom, for your work, for your dedication, and for your tremendous undying love for our people. Keep on keeping on, my dear sister, and doing the wonderful work that you have been doing. Tendai Mwari. An honor to be in your presence. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari. Thank you so much, Brother Ldr. Yes, for as long as I have breath, for as long as I have health, I most certainly will be continuing to do the work. Thank you so much for appreciating loving the works. It is indeed a joy to be an African. Wouldn't want to be any other race.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Brother Ldr, we want to thank you so much as well for being the powerhouse that you are of the our Cable and Revivalist movement, and for your Shamiras and being the minister as well, the Pan-African minister that can minister to our spirit and our soul. We thank you so much for walking in your calling, and for doing the awakening and the great works that you're doing. Yes. We thank you. We thank your family as well for releasing you, for giving you the time, to share your gifts with us as well. We thank you so much. Yes. Brother Ldr, please.
All compliments and blessings gratefully received, my sister. And I'm ready.
Please do open the show for us today with maybe a bit of a libation. That would be wonderful. To everyone out there as well, just let them know what a libation is. Maybe it's something that they haven't come across before, and why we should be opening events and shows sometimes, or all times really, with a libation.
Tendai Mwari. Well, libation is an ancient traditional African ritual, and as we know, rituals are repeated acts that emphasize meaning, importance of whatever the subject of the ritual is. And for us as African people, when we pour libation, we are invoking the spirits of our ancestors. Now, we invoke the spirits of our ancestors because we understand that we are not just physical beings. We are spiritual, physical beings. So that there is a life, there is an energy that that inhabits our physical being. There is a spirit force that really is the life force in us, the breath of life. And that spirit force is indestructible. that spirit force is the property as well as the essence of the divine creator in us. And so it is eternal. It does not die. So when the body becomes too weak to continue to house the spirit ascends into a higher realm. We call that the realm of the ancestors. And in as much as, and this embraces logic so beautifully. We came into the world through the line of our ancestors. And who brought us into the world? The Creator, himself, herself. How did the Creator bring us into the world? Through the lineage of our ancestors. We all have a mother and a father, and they have a mother and a father, and their mother and father have mothers and fathers, and it continues ad infinitum. And that lineage is the lineage through which we come. And therefore, that lineage is the lineage through which the Creator chose to bring us into being. And so we can probably appreciate that there is a natural connection between us and our physical presence here and the lineage of our ancestors connected to the Creator of the universe. So when we pray as Africans, we connect with the Creator through the same lineage through which the Creator created us. We connect with the Creator through the same lineage of breath. The ancestors have spoken down the ages and have opened our knowledge and our wisdom to the presence of a divine supreme creator in the universe. Otherwise, we would not know. We would not know of the supreme being. And so the ancestors awaken our consciousness, and through them, we maintain contact with the creator. So when we pour libation, we are invoking the spirits of our ancestors as a natural medium through which we maintain connection with the creator of the universe. So that for us as Africans, that is the only medium through which to connect. And then by connecting with the creator, we are invoking the greatest power in ourselves. Because as Africans, we understand that Mwari Nyakusika, God, the creator of the universe, is manifested through the laws of nature. And we are part of nature. And so the spirit of the divine dwells within us and within all that is around us. So when we evoke the spirit of the divine, we are evoking the most powerful aspects of ourselves. That's what makes the ritual of libation so awesome.
Yeah. Wow. Tenda Mwari, thank you so much for that explanation and for reminding us, that we are indeed, spiritual beings in a physical body, and that we are, part of nature and therefore should be at one with nature as well.
Right,
and that there is that greater divine force out there that brought us into being through the lines of our parents, and that connects us all the way back. That is just, makes so much perfect sense, doesn't it? When you compare it to, some of the other indoctrinations that we've been indoctrinated with, that we're supposed to believe that, and they say believe because we don't know. But if there's one thing we do know, as you said, is that, we know who are, almost us, all of us, that we came through the birth channel of a mother who has a mother who has a mother and a mother and a mother and a father, all the way back.
Right.
Yes, yes, indeed. That's beautiful. Family, we welcome you as you come through the door. I'm just posting the live link now as we speak. Welcome to the Sistashanice Show. Delighted to have Brother Ldr Mbandaka in the house, who you've been hearing, and he's opened by informing us of what a libation is. Now he's going to do for us. Are you just a brief libation?
Just a brief libation. I'm happy to do that, my dear sister. Tendai Mwari. And as I do so, beloved brothers and sisters, I ask us all to assume a posture of reverence. We are pouring libation. We are honoring the spirits of Muzimu Mukuru, our great ancestors, and through them, by their accommodation, we access the powers, the greatest power in the universe, the divine power of the supreme creator. we say Mwari Nyakosika, we say Olodomare, we say Mudume, Sudume, we say Ngai, Mogai, Unkolu, Onyame, Nzambi, the creator known by the many names according to the many tongues across the length and breadth of Mama Africa. Through the spirits of our ancestors, we evoke the spirits of our ancestors. We call upon Muzimu Mokoro, the great ancestors, in the tongue of Muzimu Mokoro, the great ancestors. Muzimu Mokoro ye al-Kebulan. Muzimu Mokoro ye al-Kebulan. Uyayi, Uyayi, Uyayi. Muzimu Mokoro ye al-Kebulan. Uyayi, Uyayi, Uyayi. Great ancestors of Mama Africa, come, come, come. Great ancestors of Mama Africa, come, come, come. Uyayi, Tipeyuo Masimba. Uyayi, Tipeyuo Jukumberero. Uyayi Tipeyuo Zivo, Uyayi Tipeyuo Masimba. Come and give us your strength. Come and give us your blessings. Come and give us your knowledge, your wisdom, O great ancestors. Join us this evening as we discuss Haiti, as we discuss a blessed, sacred place that has been so violated by evil forces. May we be blessed with the wisdom of Jehuti. May we be blessed with the righteous spirit of Ma'at. May we be worthy of our calling this evening, empowering ourselves and empowering our beloved, beautiful brothers and sisters of Haiti in their fight for total liberation, the glory of Mwari Nyakosika, God, the creator of the universe, and Muzimu Mokoro, our great ancestors, and the attainment of a much higher quality of African human existence. Rumbidzo kuna Mwari Africa. To the God of Africa be the glory. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari. Oh, beautiful. Thank you so, so much. So we've just invoked the spirits of our ancestors. Do we know what we've done? Can you see the army of ancestors that's just come into the space?
Ready
when we
to
talk
do the work.
about, ready to do the work through us. I mean, when we call our ancestors, wow, there are so many greats. In my show earlier today, I was calling the name of some of our ancestors, and let me just pull up some of the list here now. We've got so many greats like Kimpavita, Neander, Kagubi, Nat Turner, Bossy, Nanny Gig, Sojourner Truth, Paul Baldwin, Nanny of the Maroon, Sam Sharp. We've got Shaka Zula, Queen Makita. Oh, we've got Hannibal, we've got Nzinga, we've got Mandotti, Taki, Solo Patrol, Shinshaks, Desiree, Cecile, Fatima. We are so many. Oh, I could be go on and on. Queen Mother Moore, Martin Luther King, Huey Newton, Bobby Seale. We've got Beck Bella, Maurice Bishop. We've got Empress Makeda, Haile Selassie, Harold Moody, C.L.R. Jones. You know what? I could go on. We have so many great ancestors. So when we're calling on the powers of our ancestors, Marcus Mosiah Garvey, let's call on the names of those greats. In fact, brother leaders, I'll call on the name of Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Let me take the opportunity to just remind all of our viewers that I have written a handbook entitled A Tribute to Marcus Mosiah Garvey. He was a great revolutionary freedom fighter, and you can get your free book. You can get your book free of charge. Let me just get the site and the details for you. So yes, it's a handbook. It's A5 in size. It's only about 50 pages. It's really lightweight. And so it's easy for you to carry around. So get your free handbook. Go to my site on Gumroad, sistashanice at Gumroad. It's Gumroad, www.gumroad.com. And when you go there, just search for Sister Shanice, sister start with an A, and you'll be able to find my page. When you do, just go to tribute to Marcus Messiah Garvey. And where it has the £, you just put 0 and you will be able to get it absolutely free. If you wish, you can also make a donation. Any donations that's made is going to go towards the printing of the book. I've already got the printer who's done me a draft copy. I'm just going to tweak it. And then we're going to go ahead and print the first 100 copies to those who have made the donation. So that is possible. Thank you so, so much. And then I'm going to distribute them free of charge to young people in the country, on the continent where I am right now. And I'll also be visiting some of the schools and universities to give out those books, because wow, wow, wow. Brother Leader, if we could, by distributing these books, inspire the minds of young Africans on the continent to have the vision and the mindset of Marcus Messiah Garvey, tell me, what do you think the impact could be for our future young leaders?
Well, Tendai Mwari, first of all, my sister, let me take this opportunity to say Makorokoto to you. Congratulations. You are just such an industrious sister, you know, such an agency within our community. And just so, I don't think, I can't imagine that you have an idle moment in your life, my dear sister. You do so much wonderful and great works. And, you know, we just hail you to the hill for your level of productivity is immeasurable, and we just give thanks and praises. What's the title of the book before I answer your question?
It's called what did I call it? A tribute to Marcus Messiah Garvey.
Wonderful.
Great visionary.
Wonderful. And I'm looking forward to getting my copy in my hand, of the book in my hand. And let me, in answering your question, let me pray on the wisdom of Papa Garvey himself, since we're talking about Papa Garvey, and use his words to shed light on the question that you've asked, which is, he says, if 400 million Africans, that was the number of Africans on the planet at the time, it's now more like 2.5 billion, at least 2.5 billion Africans on the planet. So let me say, if 2.5 billion Africans could only get to know themselves, then in the next 24 hours, we would have a new race, a new nation, an empire resurrected. Think about those words, beloved brothers and sisters, that in the next 24 hours. And what is the criteria? What is the criteria for us, in effect, to be completely liberated within the next 24 hours? Getting to know ourselves. If only we could get to know ourselves. And getting to know ourselves, of course, is knowing the truth about our history, the truth about our culture as a people, the truth about our geographical sojourns as a people, the truth about everything that is the essence of being an African. And also, getting to know ourselves is about being ourselves. Because if we truly know, and that's what Papa Garvey is saying, if we could only get to know ourselves, then by being ourselves, there's no force on earth that could stop our rise. So in the next 24 hours, we would have torn down the obstacles to our liberation, and we would have a new race, a new nation, an empire resurrected. That's what it would look like, my dear sister. That's what it would look like. How beautiful the sight.
How beautiful and how powerful that would be indeed. Imagine, tomorrow's leaders with a mindset of Marcus Messiah Garvey. If I even inspire 10 out of the 1,000 that I intend to get copies into the hands of, if even 10, but if there were more whose minds were transformed, who were inspired by the works and the words and the wisdom of Marcus Messiah Garvey, I tell you what, it would have made the works so worthwhile. Wow. Thank you, Brother Luda.
Wonderful. And it's a great idea, my dear sister. And may the effects of that in terms of the intent behind it, may it flourish, my dear sister. May it flourish. Tendai Mwari.
Tendai Mwari, thank you so much. Let's go to the audience and welcome the audience in the house. And family, if any of you have already downloaded that free ebook, let me know. If you have already read it, let me know your thoughts about it as well. Okay, so we're going over to the chat. Welcome, Kofi. We've got Kofi in the house. Sister Betty's in the house. Welcome. Let us know where in the world you're watching us from. We've got Haru in the house, rising us up, brother leader. Oh, thank you so much, Haru. We've got Skekmet in the house as well. Welcome. Raw Realities in the house saying good afternoon, good evening, global Black family. Good afternoon, good evening, Black at you, beloved. We've got greetings and power to all from Mush in the house as well. We got Miriam in the house. We got Bossman in the house bigging us up. Thank you so much. The Jamaican Jamka in the house as well. I love saying that name too. The Jamaican Jamka in the house. Welcome. We've got Mahogany in the house as well. Greetings to all. Yeah, drop us a message in the chat. And, let us know that you're there and where in the world that you are viewing us from. We so appreciate our audience. You can participate, by putting comments, statements, and questions in the chat, okay? So please feel welcome to do that. What I'll also do is I'll find the link for my Gumroad as well, and I will put that in the chat. And while you're there at Gumroad, you might want to check out the training course that I've got coming up as well. And brother leader, if you'll excuse me just for 1 minute, what I'm going to do, come to think of it, I've got an advert for that forthcoming training program as well, because our history is so important. Let me just play that. Our history is so important, family, and we can't underestimate, the extent to which we need to familiarize ourselves with the knowledge of our history, because there's so much power in knowing our history. So let me play this advert, and you would be so welcome to join us on this training course, should you decide to do so. It is going to be starting on the 29th of this month. Here we go.
Following on from the success of part 1 of the Dr. Winters and Sister Shanice Black History Study course, here comes part 2. Brace yourself as we resurrect more hidden and whitewashed chapters of formidable African history in Britain. Our new groundbreaking 6-week online training course starts on Monday, the 29th of April 2024 from 7:30 through to 9:30 p.m, bringing you facts, evidence and history that your school won't teach you. If you are a Black history enthusiast, if you are a Black educationalist, parents homeschooling your children, Saturday school teachers seeking new material, then this course is for you. Black people have a greater connection to Britain and the British Isles than you could imagine. For registration or more information, go to sistashanice.gumroad.com. That's sistashanice.gumroad.com. Fee £199 with instalment options available. Book before the end of March and get an early bird discount of £50. Check out sistashanice.gumroad.com to download our free brochure. Check out sistashanice.gumroad.com to download our free brochure. See you there.
Oh, I certainly hope that I will be seeing you there. It will be phenomenal to have you join us on that Black History course, because, as we said in the advert, there is so much to our history that we have just not been told. Brother Leader is a very well-read man, very well-read, but I doubt that you even, Brother Leader, will be aware of the extent to which we have such a formidable history in Britain. I mean, if I was to just ask you, when do you think the first Africans arrived in Britain? Brother Leader, what would you say?
Well, I do know that the oldest fossil finds everywhere on the planet are African fossil finds. That is a safe response because that is a historical, anthropological, and paleontological fact that
Yes.
there are 6 stages. Well, I said there are 6 stages. In anthropology, it is recognized that there are 6 stages of human development, which is 2 stages of
Yeah, the evolution theory. It's just
yeah,
a theory, to be honest. I don't really buy
Homo
into that
habilis,
theory, but yes.
Homo erectus,
Yeah.
and Homo sapien sapien, and all of those stages are confirmed to be, including Homo sapien sapien, that the oldest bones of Homo sapien sapien are African, anywhere on the planet.
Absolutely.
And,
We
and
are.
yeah,
Yes.
Homo erectus will only be found in Asia, apart from Africa. And as for Homo habilis, and the 2 stages, the 2 main stages, although there are other sources speak of others, other aspects of astropith. It was in my head just now. The Astropithecine. So Astropithecus robustus, Astropithecus gracile, Astropithecus africanus, those stages of which are 5 million, 6 million years old, are purely African fossil finds. So only Homo sapiens sapien you will find in Europe, and you find Neanderthal that came just before that in Europe. You will not find any fossil finds older than Neanderthal in Europe that are Europeans.
Well, that is certainly not the answer that I was expecting. That is, a textbook, classic textbook response, isn't it? From the, I must say, the Europeans who have written our history for us.
Yeah.
You see, and that's based on their evolutionary theory,
Yeah,
and it is very much just a theory, but a brilliant response from their textbook perspective. And you're right in terms of the oldest fossil remains anywhere in the world to be found being African, definitely. And as we all know, we populated the entire globe as Africans, and we were the first people everywhere. But they don't tend to tell us that when we learn our history in the UK. You would get the impression from the history that we've learned here in Britain that we just arrived with the Windrush.
Well,
but far from it, no, far from it.
Cheddar man alone will blow up that
Now we know about Cheddar Man. 20,000 years old. Now they're saying he's 10,000. But when they first found the bones, they said it was 20,000 years old. Now they know it's a black man. They're saying 10,000. But anyway, there's evidence that we've been in the UK for at least 44,000 years. We were here during the Stone Age era and coming all the way through the different eras and environmental changes that they've been, but they don't teach us any of that at all. But we have been doing the research, and we have been uncovering a huge amount of history. And interestingly, they were talking about the Black Jesus that they uncovered in Russia. Did you know that we've got similar artifacts of Black Jesuses on the cross in Britain? Yes, we do. Oh, absolutely. Yes. Before the white Jesus was on the cross in Britain, there were Black Jesuses on the cross in Britain, if you want to believe all of that as well. There's so much history here. There really is. And we're the ones who are going to have to uncover it for ourselves and do the training and share it among ourselves. Thank you for indulging in that with me. Brother Leader. So yes, family, you can go to my Gumroad and you can book yourself on that course, and I will drop the link in the chat. And to those of you who have already booked, We are delighted to have you on board. Absolutely delighted to have you on board. Okay, without further ado, let's get into, shall we, the topic of conversation for today. Are you ready, brother leader?
Tenai Mwari, I'm ready and rearing, my dear sister. Tenai Mwari.
Okay. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Family, brother leader, a phenomenal member of our community, dynamic Pan-Africanist speaker, leader of the Al-Kabalan revivalist movement. And he has, I must say, I've got the pleasure of saying he's been a regular guest on the Sister Shanice show. He's been supportive of this channel from the outset. He's been delivering some powerful presentations on this platform, and you can go into the archives of the Sister Shanice show and find some of the great works that our brother leader, the great presentations that brother leader has done. He did a powerful series on politics and politricks. Get them, download them now before they get taken down. I've lost count, family, of the number of videos that YouTube have taken down of mine. They're going through not just my videos, but all the videos of Pan-Africanists, I'm sure, and they are deleting videos that doesn't line up with their narrative. And that's so that when our future come in 100 years' time and they want to do the research, it's going to be even more difficult for them to find information such as the ones that Brother Leader has been doing on my platform. They're particularly at the moment targeting videos where we've been talking about the big C, but they're also, becoming a lot more dictatorial about what we can and what we cannot say. So great shows, get them now while you can. You know, brother leader, great member of our community, been a community activist, an organizer for well over 40 years, proud father of 4, grandfather of 10. Wow, and he's been, he's just phenomenal also as a religious and spiritual and educational teacher within our community. Today, we're going to be talking about Haiti. Let me hand over the floor to our brother, Ldr Mbandaka, to open the conversation. Over to you, brother leader. You're on mute, you're on mute.
Tenai Mwari.
Tenai Mwari.
Rumbidzo Kunamwari, Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. Giving thanks and praises unto Mwari Nyakusika, God, the creator of the universe, through Muzima Mukuru, our great ancestors, for blessing us to be here this evening. We give thanks and praises for all mercies, great and small. And although the topic that we are dealing with this evening is in many ways a very, very painful topic, beloved brothers and sisters, nonetheless, we are thankful that we can gather to focus on this very, very important issue affecting the African world community. What I hope to do this evening, what I hope to achieve this evening, is to explore and explain the historical context to the present Haitian crisis. I say Haitian as opposed to Haitian. I would say Haiti instead of Haiti, because I understand that the name Haiti, spelled H-A-I-T-I, was taken from the language and the word of the Taino people, the original people of the land, who called the entire island, they call, which includes the Dominican Republic, they call it all Haiti, which means a high place. Now, it might be interpreted as a place of mountains, but I'm made to understand that the mountain is symbolic of high spiritual attainment. It's not only the physical mountain, but it's high human accomplishments, whether it's spiritual or intellectual. It's rather like Thomas Sankara naming the country Burkina Faso a place of upright people, a place of upright people. So you can see that the people, the Taino people, thought highly of themselves and had great vision for their human accomplishments. I hope, as I said, to give historical context, and in the process to challenge the mass media. Some of us say mass media. I said the mass media propaganda and the confusion that has created. And I hope also, brothers and sisters, to expose the criminal involvement of the so-called international community and what they're doing in Haiti. I talked about the Taino people, and we must give credit and we must give honor to them because they are the indigenous people of that land. And that's what Dessalines, when he named the country Haiti, was doing, was attempting to do, to recognize the people who were there when we got there and to give honor to them. And we must remind ourselves that there was an estimated, according to European sources, there was an estimated at least 800,000 Tainos inhabiting the island when the Europeans got there. The Spanish first got there in 1492. Within 22 years, that had reduced to 30,000. Such was the nature of the savagery. Even as they were calling the indigenous people who had welcomed them, giving them a home, giving them food to eat, giving them a resting place, giving them respite, space to settle. And they attacked these people they call savages. Within 22 years, the population had reduced from at least 800,000. It could easily have been over 1 million to some 30 odd thousand. So you can see the level of savagery that had been heaped upon the people. Our ancestors, of course, were brought into Haiti, bound in slavery, beloved brothers and sisters. And we too experienced the vicious savagery of the Europeans in Haiti. Slavery was a nasty, brutal, barbaric system where our ancestors' humanity was completely negated, that we were presumed to be something less than human. They called us savages as well, beloved brothers and sisters. Yet they are the ones that were doing the barbaric, vicious, evil deeds. And we remind ourselves, to cut a long story short, beloved brothers and sisters, because we have a lot to get through, that our ancestors, I want to give, in fact, before I talk about the Haitian Revolution, I want to give honor to all the ancestors who resisted from the moment, beloved brothers and sisters, they were brought to Haiti. As the moment our feet touched the ground, we were resisting, we were fighting against slavery. And I want to raise up one great name amongst many, and that is the one-armed prophet, Francois Macandal, 1730 to 1758. Macandal, who had embarked on a revolutionary process where he had a plan in place to poison every single one of them. He was a spiritualist and a herbalist. And he studied the herbs very, very well. And he knew the herbs that could be used to take them out. And he was, in fact, arming our fellow enslaved Africans with the herbs to take out the Europeans. The plan was to take out every single one of them until one Ronmount Jefferson went and spilled the beans. So often that has happened in our history, beloved brothers and sisters. But he had a comprehensive plan. He had a comprehensive program that he had started. But let us remind ourselves that when Macandal was brought to be burnt at the stake, he told them that they could not kill him. And when they mounted him and lit the fire, and he was dropped in the fire, there was no sound, no sizzle, no smell of burning flesh. And the Europeans were freaked out. They were freaked out, beloved brothers and sisters. They expected him to scream because that was entertainment for them when they were lynching us. It was big entertainment for them. But Macandal gave them no entertainment. And our ancestors were of the conviction that Macandal had transformed himself into a bird and had exited the scene before his body could be deposited in the fire for burning. And I stand by that, beloved brothers and sisters. I stand by that conviction. Tendai Mwari. We know that between 1791 and 1803, our ancestors launched a revolution against the system of slavery. It was a powerful strike out against the system of slavery. And it started, beloved brothers and sisters, let us remind ourselves that it started with pouring libation and a Ogun ceremony, evoking the spirit of Ogun. And Ogun, amongst other things, representing iron which is used to make weapons to wage just wars. Ogun is also Orisha of justice. Orisha of justice, beloved brothers and sisters. And so the spirit of Ogun was evoked in a ceremony in Bwakeman, the ceremony to raise the spirits of our warriors who were about to wage just war against the enemy. Our ancestors fought for 13 years and defeated, as we know, the leading and most powerful military forces in Europe, starting with the French, then the Spanish, and then the British who were fighting with the Spanish. Our ancestors, through their spiritual and military might, defeated the three most powerful forces in Europe, the three most powerful forces in the world at the time, backed by the United States of America, because America was backing France at the time, beloved brothers and sisters. So we can say that 4 military forces we defeated during the Haitian Revolution. It was Haiti then who gave us our first liberated nation. Now, we must not forget Palmares that came before Haiti between the late 1500s and the late 1600s in northern Brazil. That came before Haiti. But that wasn't a whole nation. It was part of a nation. But the Palmares Revolution was also grounded in nation-building principles. But Haiti was the first nation of enslaved Africans who were able to overturn the system of enslavement and assume political power, assume the levers of governance, and chase out the oppressors. And those who remain exact justice upon them. Because Europeans who remained in Haiti in the wake of the revolution were put to the sword. They were tried and convicted and sentenced to death. But we also must remember, beloved brothers and sisters, that notwithstanding the justice of this act and the fact that our ancestors brought this to fruition on the first day of the first month in the year so-called 1804, the year 1804. So the 1st of January 1804 was the inauguration of this new nation, Haiti. Dessalines took the French flag and tore the white out of the red, white, and blue flag. He tore the white out of it to symbolize getting rid of the white man out of Haiti, getting rid of whiteness out of Haiti. And then, and let me just back up a little bit. I want to remind us of a prayer when Bookman Doty, who led the ceremony alongside Cecile Fataman, they were Ogun priests and priestesses, or Voodoo, priests and priestesses. And as they evoke the spirit of Ogun, Bookman Doty uttered a prayer where he commanded us to throw away the image of the white man's God, which has so often brought us to tears, and listen to the God of liberty that speaks through all our hearts. Throw away the image of the white man's God and listen to the God of liberty that speaks through all our hearts. Listen to the God of Africa, he was implying. You throw away the image of the white man's God and listen to the God of liberty, you're listening to the God of Africa. That's why we say, Rumbidzo Kunamwari Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. And that charged them spiritually for war. Dessalines, who was the war general who brought the thing home, Toussaint Louverture did his bit as a war general, brilliant war general, but he had an affinity to France and Frenchness that inhibited him from striking the final blow for freedom. He still wanted to identify with France and Frenchness. He still wanted Haiti to be a colony of France, but he just wanted France to be more polite in the way they treated us and recognize us as human beings and allow us to govern under their tutelage. I'm afraid, I know many of us love Toussaint, and I love Toussaint as well, but Toussaint had a serious problem, his love for Frenchness. Tendai Moari. Dessalines had no love for the French. He made it clear that if you see me negotiating with them and you see me agreeing anything with them, be assured that if I make 1,000 agreements with them, I will betray them 1,000 times. He knew the beast that he was dealing with. But we have to face the fact that notwithstanding the euphoria of the victory and the inauguration of our new nation, our first nation state, after our ordeal of the Offa, our first nation state, where Dessalines, not only did he tear the white out of the flag, but Dessalines also wrote a constitution where he established the principle that Haiti is a nation for the black man and woman. We must remember that he spoke and he said that no white man must ever step foot on Haiti as property owners or as rulers. He stated that and he enshrined it in the Constitution. No white man must come on the shores, must step foot on the shores of Haiti and as a property owner or as a ruler. Haiti's victory angered the white supremacist world. And when the Haiti nation came to fruition, the white supremacist world refused to recognize Haiti as a nation. America, Britain, France, Spain, and the South American nations refused to recognize and therefore refused to trade with Haiti. And even in those days, it was difficult to develop the economy of a nation without trading. But they all placed a blockade on trading with Haiti. Economic warfare was waged on Haiti. Haiti gave in the mid 18 teens, Haiti helped the nations of South America to free themselves of Spanish colonialism. Let us remember that Haiti gave finance, helped financially, gave soldiers and weapons to Simon Bolivar, who came to Haiti for help, and Haiti rendered that help to the South American nations. Let us remember that on the agreement that these South American nations would abolish slavery, Bolivar released his own enslaved Africans, but did not ensure that slavery was abolished in Southern America. But Haiti was open. Haiti opened itself to any African who could escape from the system of slavery to come to Haiti. Haiti offered America and other enslaving nations, they offered to pay for enslaved Africans to come to Haiti. We owe a debt to Haiti historically, because this was a Pan-African vision. The Haiti Revolution was a Pan-African vision. It was a Pan-African project. When we look at it in context, beloved brothers and sisters, Haiti wanted to free Africans around the world. Haiti wanted to end slavery, period, not just in Haiti, but anywhere slavery existed. Let us remember that as we look at the present situation in Haiti. But let me move very quickly, because I want more of a dialogue, beloved brothers and sisters. So let me move very quickly and say that Haiti in 1925, France imposed an indemnity on Haiti with the threat of war if Haiti did not agree to pay an indemnity to France, in other words, reparations to France for loss of property. What was the loss of property? Us freeing ourselves. Just think about the arrogance of that. Africans freeing themselves. And because you had warships, you had battleships, and you're backed up by the Americans, you're threatening to bombard the ports of Haiti if they did not agree to pay reparations. Sadly, Haiti agreed having fought for so many years and having to contemplate the impact and the implications of being bombarded with bombs and cannons, they decided to pay the indemnity. The indemnity was 150 million gold francs. 150 million gold francs, beloved brothers and sisters. That is worth today some 30 billion, at least 30 billion pounds. It took Haiti the best part of 122 years to pay off that debt. Haiti did not have the money to pay the debt. And so Haiti was forced to chop down its trees, its forestry, in order to pay, because Haiti has beautiful, high quality timber, and they had to cut down their forests. 60% of Haiti at the time was forest. Now Haiti, only 12% of Haiti is forest. And Haiti is suffering today from deforestation. If there is a storm or heavy rain, they have mudslides and avalanches that devastates communities as a result of what was imposed upon them. Haiti had to borrow, was forced to borrow money from the French bank, which they had to pay back at exorbitant interest rates. It took them 122 years from 1825 to 1947 to pay off that debt. I'm giving you the historical context, beloved brothers and sisters. I'm giving you the historical context. In addition to that, we had America, along with France, meddling in Haiti's internal affairs. This culminated in America in 1915. America invading Haiti. In fact, they came in from late 1914, and they went into Haiti's bank and took out Haiti's gold to the tune of some $15 million worth of gold. They stole from Haiti's bank and took to America and deposited it in America's Citibank. Stole Haiti's gold, and it is still in America's Citibank, beloved brothers and sisters. Let it be known that even before that, a descendant of Dessalines, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, his great-grandson, had rose to the position of president in 1911. His name was Cincinnatus Leconte, Cincinnatus Leconte, but he also added to his name Jean-Jacques Dessalines II. And he was resistant to the American imposition on Haiti's economy, Haiti's banking system, the French imposition. He was resistant to that. He was resistant to the Eastern, the Syrians who were coming in and Lebanese who were coming in, were being brought into Haiti at the time and being used to support American interests, French interests, rather than the interests of African people. And he was assassinated on the 8th of Mosiah, the 8th of August. He served a year. He became president on the 15th of August in the year so-called 1911. And he was assassinated on the 8th of August, the 8th of Messiah. His presidential palace was blown to smithereens. But some sources say that he was assassinated even before they blew up the palace. And when they blew up the palace, the explosive was so powerful, they said the whole of Port-au-Prince, the capital of Haiti, every house in Port-au-Prince shook. Hundreds of soldiers, of LeConte soldiers, died. This is going back a long way, beloved brothers and sisters. The meddling in Haiti's affairs go back a long way. I'm going to move forward a bit more and come to the Duvalier period. This is Francois Duvalier and his son, Jean-Claude Duvalier, otherwise known as Papa Doc and Baby Doc. These were two mindless stooges who happened to exist in an African body, void of an African mind, void of an African spirit, but perfect materials for the oppressors of our people. Let me just say that when America invaded in 1915, they remained in Haiti until 1934. 19 years. They took control of the economy. They took control of the banking system. They took total control, beloved brothers and sisters, of the military. They took control of the political system. And they installed their own stooges and their own economic, political economic machinations to maintain US interests, American interests, even after they left in 1934. And in 1957, they installed Francois Duvalier, otherwise known as Papa Doc. As I said, he was a stooge, he was a sellout. And he was used. He was used, beloved brothers and sisters, to massacre our people. He was used to oppress our people. He was used, he had a paramilitary force they call the Tom Makut, vicious killing machine that was used to oppress our people. He generated a personal wealth of $150 million, which was some 40% of Haiti's GDP. Think about that for a moment. That was his reward for being a perfect tool of American and French imperialism. He was untouchable because he had the backing of America and he had the backing of France. And when he died in 1971, his son took over and carried on with the same vicious oppression of our people in the interest of white supremacy. Until our people, now remember that our people continued to resist. There was never a period in Haiti when we were not resisting. But of course, those who were resisting were being massacred at the hands of mindless, soulless Africans controlled by European imperialists. And that's what happened under the Duvaliers, Papa Doc and Baby Doc. 1986, there was an uprising in the country. The people rose up and threw out so-called Baby Doc and ended the Duvalier dynasty. And there was a 4 years of transition, they call transition government, a transition military government. And then a man called Jean Bertrand Aristide, a priest, a Roman Catholic priest, but a priest who was of the liberation theology persuasion, meaning that he wasn't just going to use, dabble in religion for the sake of religion, the Christian religion, the Catholic religion, for the sake of feeling good, or for the sake of identifying with the Catholic establishment. He was going to use his place in that religion to wake up our people. He was going to make it relevant to our people. And he was going to teach and preach religion in a way that inspired revolution and liberation in the hearts and minds of our people. He became a bane in the eyes of the Catholic Church because he would challenge the Catholic Church. He would even criticize and challenge the Pope. And as a result of that, he was excommunicated. But he pressed on. When he became, he founded the, he became a part of a movement called Lavalas. And that Lavalas movement became a political party, which then took the name Famille Lavalas. Famille is family, Lavalas is avalanche. Avalanche is like revolution. Yeah, it's a metaphor. Avalanche can mean, Lavalas can mean avalanche, it can mean flood, but the context was revolution. It was a metaphor for revolution. So he was going to inspire an African family revolution in Haiti. In 1991, he became president with, officially, they say 67% of the votes. But Haitian sources said it was nearer 80% of the vote. So imagine he wins the election in 1991. And having won the election, Aristide and his government started to address some issues that they considered to be relevant to the people. The issue of Creole. He made Creole a national language, a recognized Creole as a legitimate language. He recognized Voodoo as a legitimate, this Catholic trained priest recognized Voodoo as a legitimate religion or legitimate spiritual practice amongst the people. Now if you think about the role that Voodoo played in the Haitian Revolution, you can understand, you will see why the forces of white supremacy and European imperialism saw this as a threat, as a declaration of war. He also, even though his ideology and the ideology of his party was simply social democracy, but there was a definite African-centered approach and an African liberation approach to their social democracy. So in addition to that, they sought, beloved brothers and sisters, to, amongst their policy was public spending, widespread public spending on education, healthcare, transport and communication, housing, all of these important things that would improve the lives of our people. Yeah, expanding electricity, water, all of those are issues that the family Lavalas had in mind for our people, and also to raise the minimum wage. I think they wanted to raise it to $5 an hour, something like that, which was a big improvement on, I think it was $1 or $2, something that the minimum wage was at the time. And he wanted to raise the minimum wage, because one of the things we must understand about Haiti, Haiti has been used as a sweatbox economy for European corporations. They exploit the labor of our people for sweatbox wages. And this was one of the things that Aristide, as the new president, addressed. Within 7 months, there was a coup. Within 7 months, a coup that was US backed, was backed by the same imperialist forces, beloved brothers and sisters, although on the ground it was carried out by the hands of Haitian military force, by the Haitian military forces. And so within 7 months, Aristide was ousted, was deposed. He went into exile in the United States of America. Now, America was pretending as if it had nothing to do with the coup, of course. So was France. They're pretending as if they had nothing to do with the coup. In 1994, America brought Aristide back to Haiti as though they were overturning the military junta that was now ruling Haiti. So this is how they presented themselves, that they overturned the military junta and brought Aristide back with 20,000 troops. 20,000 American troops were brought back to Haiti. Aristide wanted to continue and complete his 5 years in government, but the American government would not allow Aristide to complete his 5-year term. As far as they were concerned, the 5 years started in 1991 and ended in 1996. So in 1996, Aristide had to step down, and the Constitution did not allow him to stand for election straight away. You can't stand for election for 2 consecutive terms. You can come back for another term after you have to miss at least a term, and then you can come back, but you can't serve 2 consecutive terms. So between 1996 and 1981, the president was one Preval, René Preval was the president. He was formerly a prime minister, the prime minister under Aristide's government in 1991, René Preval. He became the president between 1996 and 2001. Aristide stood again in 2001. Aristide and his party, Lavelas, stood in 2001 and won, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 90% of the vote this time. It was the most popular party in Haiti, the most populous party in Haiti, and walked the election in 2001. In 2003, at the beginning of 2003, Aristide announced that he was demanding from France reparations for the money that they extorted from Haiti between 1925 and between 1825 and 1947. That was a just demand that Aristide made on behalf of the people of Haiti. He had calculated, or it was calculated, that that money, the present worth of that. In fact, it was reduced. It was reduced to 90 million gold francs. And that 90 million gold francs, which they had to pay with high interest, that was worth $21 billion in 2004. Today, it's worth closer to $30 billion and probably even more than $30 billion. And so he demanded that. By February 29th, American troops invaded, well, in fact, first of all, let's say troops of Haitian extract who were being trained by the Americans in the Dominican Republic, which of course is the country that is next to Haiti, yeah, on the island they call Hispaniola. 1/3 of the island, of the eastern part of that island, is Haiti, and the other 2/3 to the west is a nation state called the Dominican Republic. And they were paramilitary troops were being trained, led by a character named Guy Philippe, who is all over the internet now, beloved brothers and sisters. Look out for his name, Guy Philippe, Guyphillipe. Guy Philippe was being trained to invade Haiti and to overthrow Aristide. In fact, all through Aristide's tenure as president from 2001 to 2004, there were death squads operating in Haiti. And those death squads were simply killing and slaughtering supporters or members or supporters of Family Lavelas. Aristide supporters were being massacred, which was being kept quiet, beloved brothers and sisters. These death squads were operating in Haiti. And as I said, there was always resistance. So our people on the ground were resisting. So there was always conflict between these forces. The forces of no good, the forces of evil, the forces of white supremacist puppeteering. They are white supremacist puppets, were massacring, killing, maiming, intimidating supporters of Haiti, supporters of Aristide. Now listen to this. American troops actually came to Aristide's home and removed him from his home. Think about that for a moment. Removed him and his wife and others from his home. Think about that for a moment, beloved brothers and sisters. Sister, can you just give me 1 second, please?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bear with me 1 second.
Okay, wow, family. You know, I've just been gripped. Every time I hear about Haiti, I learn so much more. I mean, there's just so much to the story of Haiti when you hear of the evil outside interference that's been undermining, you know, Haiti and everything that they have been trying to do. They overwhelmingly elected the governors of their choice. And then you have, you know, the outside interference of France and the US that come in and they want to overturn, they want to assassinate, they will organize coups. They steal the gold, steal the money. I mean, this is just outrageous behavior, you know. So Brother Leader is back to continue. You ready to continue, Brother Leader?
I am. Deepest apologies.
No problem. Oh my God. I'm just saying I'm just gripped with all of what you're saying. And every time I hear about, you know, because I've heard so many people tell the story of Haiti, the history, the past, the context, etc. But every time I listen and I learn about Haiti, I learn so much more. There's just so, you know, the extent of the outside interference and undermining and manipulation, you know, it's just so extreme. They are intent on ensuring that Haiti never rises. I mean, every time it looks as though they're going to, they just chop the legs off, don't they, of those who are lifting up Haiti.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we must remind ourselves that we owe Haiti a debt. Yeah. What Haiti did in between 1791 and 1804 was for all of us. And it inspired so many revolutions around the world. The Nat Turner Revolution was inspired by Haiti. Yes? Denmark Vesey and Gabriel Prosser were inspired by Haiti. In fact, the aim was to strike out against the oppressors, the enslavers, and escape to Haiti, right? That was what every revolutionary, every anti-slavery, you know, activists at the time had their mind set on getting to Haiti. Yeah. So Haiti was a great source of inspiration for the African world fighting against slavery. So it is our responsibility as African freedom fighters to be concerned about what's happening in Haiti and to be asking what is it that we can do, what to support our brothers and sisters because on the ground, because they are suffering, beloved brothers and sisters. Now, think about this. 2004. This was the bicentenary of Haiti's revolution. The bicentenary of Haiti's independent nation. That year, massive celebrations were planned. It was because of the bicentenary why Aristide demanded that France repay the money that they extorted, the money they stole from the nation. It is the reason why they demanded it. It was part of the observance and celebration of the bicentenary of the Haitian Revolution. But the white supremacist world that had conspired against Haiti establishing its nation conspired to ensure that Haiti would not celebrate its bicentenary. So it wasn't just the fact that Aristide demanded reparations from France, but it was the fact that massive celebrations and commemorations were planned for that year. We in the Al-Keblan Revivalist movement had a big Ogun ceremony in Mosiah, August 2004. One of the most powerful ceremonies we've ever held to honor, and we were determined precisely because of what they had done to Haiti by overthrowing Aristide. Yeah? Now, they took him from his home, threatening him that if he did not leave with the American Marines, that Guy Philippe forces would kill him. And so they took him and flew him to the Central African Republic. Aristide said he had no doubt that they were going to kill him. But fortunately, beloved brothers and sisters, a man by the name of Randall Robinson, founder and president or director of an organization called Trans-Africa. And it was an organization that he had set up to challenge American imperialism from within. He got so fed up with American imperialism and American global injustice and racism that he emigrated to St. Kitts, where I believe his wife came from. And he spent the rest of his life in St. Kitts. He passed away recently, or last year or something, Randall Robinson. Wonderful, wonderful elder. 83, I think he was 83 or 82 when he died, fairly recently. It was him and an American congresswoman, an African congresswoman by the name of Maxine Waters, and a Jamaican member of parliament named Sharon Hay Webster, who hired a plane, an aeroplane, and traveled to the Central African Republic and demanded that Aristide be handed over to them. That's how Aristide's life was saved. Aristide said he's convinced that if they didn't come to the Central African Republic, that he would have died in the Central African Republic. But listen to this. They brought him back to the Caribbean against the express wishes or presumed instructions of the Bush administration. Because George Bush had said Aristide must not come back to this hemisphere. And Randall Robinson apparently said to George Bush, whose hemisphere? And brought him back. And the Jamaican Prime Minister at the time, P.J. Patterson, welcomed him in Jamaica and gave him residence in Jamaica. But the American government now pressured the Jamaican government to say that Aristide can't stay in Jamaica. Can you imagine that? They pressured the Jamaican government that Aristide, a sovereign country, that a free man who should be in his country, running his country, cannot stay in a neighboring country because the American government says you can't stay. Not only can't you stay in your own country, Haiti, but you can't stay in a neighboring country, Jamaica. And so Aristide was taken from Jamaica and he was deposited in South Africa, where he lived for another 7 years. Just think about that for a moment, beloved brothers and sisters. Of course, the supporters, which is the masses of the people on the ground, were rising up. The people were rising up and demanding Aristide. What was the response? More death squads, more massacring of the people having to arm themselves in order to resist this onslaught. Right? This is the context, beloved brothers and sisters, for what we're seeing today. In 2003, after Aristide had demanded after Aristide had demanded reparations from France, immediately a meeting was called known as the Ottawa Initiative on Haiti. The Ottawa Initiative on Haiti is a meeting that was held in Canada between the 31st of January and the 1st of February in 2003. This is where the decision was made to oust Aristide. Imagine that, beloved brothers and sisters. Imagine that. Think about it. Look up for yourselves. Look up the Ottawa Initiative on Haiti in 2003. And the nations who were involved in that Ottawa initiative included Canada, of course, America, El Salvador, France, and an organization called the Organization of American States. All white nations sat down. There were no Haitians there, beloved brothers and sisters. No Haitians there, making the decision to overthrow Aristide, a democratically elected president of Haiti. So when you hear these people talking about restoring democracy, they're making mockery. They're not restoring any democracy, beloved brothers and sisters, because what they've done is cause suffering and pain and upheaval by not only destroying the economy of Haiti, stealing money, millions and millions of dollars. Not only have they devastated the landscape that has wreaked havoc on our people's lives. The landscape can no longer resist extreme weather conditions. Not only have they done that, they have wreaked revenge and vicious, evil brutality on our people who simply want to be free. Our people who simply want to be free. Now, after overthrowing Aristide and Aristide being banished to South Africa, being refused the right, not refused the right, but being told he can't stay in Jamaica. René Preval came into the presidency between 2006 and 2011. In 2006, there was an election. The most popular party, the most populous party, Family Lavelas, was banned from the electoral process. They could not participate in the general election, right? These are the purveyors of democracy, right? Because not only was America funding the election, America had taken charge, beloved brothers and sisters. They'd set up a group called the Council of Sages. It was appointed by the United States, appointed a council of sages, which was constituted by an unelected group of prominent elite Haitians who supported the 2004 coup d'etat that deposed exiled Haitian President Jean-Bertrand Aristide. Council of Sages. What was the criteria for being on this Council of Sages? This now is going to be the body of Haitians with whom the American government is going to legitimize its imperialist manipulations of Haiti. They set up a body of sages, they call it. Sages are supposed to be wise people. But these were a bunch of fools who were siding with the enemy against the will of their own people, the natural and informed will of their own people. Now, let me just quickly come to this 2011 election. Another election in 2011. Family Lavelas banned again. But René Preval, who was doing reasonably well in the first round of the elections. However, Michel Martelly was the person that the American government had earmarked to be the next president of America. What was his credentials? He was a musician, a club owner, a playboy. We love for grabbing private parts when him doing him acts, right? And some sources say he was a striptease, playboy, no political credentials. Apparently Hillary Clinton traveled from somewhere in the so-called Middle East when she heard that the election wasn't going too well. He didn't qualify after the first round of the elections. She traveled from where she was into Haiti to demand that he must be put on the ballot for the second round. And so said, so done, because when America talk, no dog bark. So he was put on the ballot for the second round. Less than 20% of the population turned out to vote, because the overwhelming majority of the people wanted famille la vilasse. They wanted famille la vilasse, and famille la vilasse was not on the ballot paper. So something like 18 or 19% of the voters turned out to vote. And this Michael Martilli, otherwise known as Sweet Mickey. Sweet Mickey. If you want to lick your lips, you say Sweet Mickey. So if you want, and so, some sources might imply that Hillary Clinton couldn't say Sweet Mickey without licking her lips. But far be it from me to suggest anything salacious in regards to Hillary Clinton. But apparently she and Mickey, Sweet Mickey, was pretty sweet, very close. And he was the person that she said had to be the next president of the United States of America. He was one of the people who was campaigning and who supported the overthrow of Aristide, as was the next person who became president. Juvenal Moise was the next person who became president and who we know was assassinated in 2021, the 7th of July, 2021. And then a group known as the Core Group, again, a group that was put together by let's say the United Nations, but America is a driving force behind all of this. And this core group is what determined that the next, the person who should assume the presidency is Ariel Henry. Ariel Henry is the person who is now said to be in the seat of the president, but was never elected as president. In fact, presently, there are no elected officials in Haiti because of the chicanery and because of the invasions and deposing and overthrowing of legitimate administration and all of the chicanery that has gone on since then. Apparently, there are no elected officials in Haiti as we speak. When just before Aristide was overthrown, there was over 7,000 elected officials in Haiti. Today, there are no elected officials, nationally or locally, no elected officials. So when you hear them saying that Haiti has become a failed state, Haiti has not become a failed state. Haiti is the reflection of the invasion and the manipulation and all of the imposition of American imperialism on Haiti. They have rendered Haiti dysfunctional, deliberately rendered Haiti dysfunctional, because Haiti must serve American, French, and other European interests. Haiti must never be a free African nation. It must never be a model of African freedom and self-determination, African self-empowerment, African agency. They are determined that that must never happen. And so, beloved brothers and sisters, I'm going to pause there and just allow for any questions, because I'm sure that there are specific questions that brothers and sisters want to ask. I just wanted to bring us up to, I wanted to give the historical context for where Haiti is at presently, so that we understand the meddling that has gone on and how Haiti has been turned upside down, inside out, that has left it where it is today. And all we can hear about is gangs on the streets, gangs all over Haiti. I want to put into perspective from the voices of Haitians that I have heard speaking on this subject, that there aren't gangs running all over Haiti, that there is some upheaval, but it's mostly in Port-au-Prince and just on the outskirts of Port-au-Prince, and it's mainly 4 or 5 neighborhoods that are directly affected. What is going on in those neighborhoods is quite serious. Yes, there are deaths, maiming, suffering that is happening, but it is not all over Haiti. And it is not as simple as gangs on the streets. What I'm understanding from the voices of Haitians that I have heard is that these are paramilitaries. Most of these people who are carrying these guns and engaging these activities are ex-police officers, ex-military officers who are well armed, and they are armed by the oligarchy, that is the rich minority of Haiti, who are all white, 15 families, all white, that run Haiti. They own and control all the ports. The richest among them is one Gilbert, what's his name? Gilbert Bigio, a Jewish man who is the head of the Jewish community in Haiti, and also a member of a Jewish council in Israel. He is a billionaire, the only billionaire in Haiti who actually owns the port through which the majority of weapons that are coming into Haiti comes through that port. The port is called Port, I'll get the name in a minute. I'll get the name in a minute. But the majority of the weapons are coming through the port owned by this character and his group called the GB Group in Haiti. That the weapons on the streets come through these ports that are owned by these oligarchs, these rich white families, and are put into the hands of ex-soldiers and ex-police who they control and who they tell what to do. And these oligarchs work with the American government, work with the French government, work with the United Nations and other European imperialist forces to protect and preserve their interests in Haiti. That is the context. That is the context, and that is the truth behind the propaganda that we are hearing in the European global mass media. That is the truth behind the propaganda. These are not gangs, that these are paramilitary forces that manipulate and control young people, youths as young as 14, 15, have guns put in their hands. They don't even have good, decent clothes on their backs, but they have guns valuing £7,000 for these weapons. And every time they fire a shot, they spend hundreds of pounds that they don't have. But they're being manipulated by these oligarchs working through these ex-police officers and ex-military officers in the country. Tendai Mwari. Let me pause there for questions or comments.
Ldr Mbandaka, wow, thank you so much for laying out the backgrounds and the context in the way you did. I think you've made it clear to everyone listening the extent to which, outside powerful forces have been consistently and persistently undermining Haiti's efforts at restoring peace in the country and to, getting the country back on its feet again. And, these outside forces will obviously are planning to continue to do so in the future. Even as we talk now, there are plans to send in an army into Haiti. Let me get my notes back on that. Well, family, we're hearing the extent to which, these powerful forces in France and the US are prepared to collaborate to undermine, a legitimate sovereign country. Imagine. And today, we're hearing that Canada, who we've already heard about in terms of their role in Haiti at the Ottawa initiative, then are involved again. And they are apparently sending around 70 soldiers to Jamaica to train troops from the Caribbean nations who are due to take part in a UN-authorized mission in Haiti. We were hearing not so long ago that Kenya was being asked to deploy 1,000 of its police officers into Haiti. That got stopped as a result of a high court charge that was made. And but they're determined, the white world are determined to train troops and train people who look like us to go in and do their dirty bidding on top of, the very resourcefully armed, organized groups they've got in there causing havoc on the street already. And some of us would have heard that interview, Brother Leader. I think it was Sky News that interviewed Jimmy Chiriza, the alias, the one they called Barbecue. And he gave a very stern message in the interview. He said that, if Kenya or any other country sends or deploys any security teams down to Haiti, he said that they would be met with fierce aggression by all of the gangs that he said he is putting together, and that any outsiders coming in will be perceived as invaders, and they will be perceived as posing a threat to the Haitians, and they will be met with a lot of resistance. And so it seems they're orchestrating a war, because on the one hand, you said that these gangs, they get all of their weapons from France and America and Canada, because these weapons are not being made in Haiti. These bullets are not being made in Haiti. So there's an outside, military source that's sending in all of these weapons, said to police officers and soldiers who have been trained on how to use it. And as we can see, are running havoc in the country with those weapons at the moment. And now there's plans to send in another group under a different disguise, and they're going to be causing a civil war. I mean, what do you say, Leader, about the plans now that Canada are putting in place? All right there, Brother Leader. Okay, while Brother Leader does what he does, I think maybe to plug in his laptop, let's go over to the group and see what we've got. Skemet is saying Jimmy Barbecue Chaiza contracted a gang leader to free a YouTuber who was kidnapped a couple of strongs ago, and he was set free. This wouldn't have happened if he was not respected, because the people want. Okay, so he got involved in getting a YouTuber, kidnapped a YouTuber released. Was this YouTuber in Haiti? Had this YouTuber been kidnapped in Haiti or outside of Haiti? Interesting. Give us some more information on that. Questions are popping up now. We've got 10 minutes or 9 minutes left of the show. Ras Painted and Decorating says, same all over the Caribbean. Guns and bullets are not made there, but the islands are flooded with ammunition and guns. You know, clearly this is an effort to destabilize the region. Is it not, brother leader? And, you know, the gang have already said, or the leader of the gangs have already said what's going to happen if Canada, America, or anyone sends in armed so-called security forces into their country. Leader, what are your thoughts on what Canada is doing right now, please?
Yeah, Tendai Mwari. Well, let me just say in relation to Jimmy Cherizier barbecue. I think I've heard different perspectives on barbecue and what he's supposed to really represent. There are some sources that believe that he is a genuine article in terms of a revolutionary, and other sources that see him purely as a criminal. And there are other sources that are kind of betwixt and between. I know that there's a Haitian newspaper, or Haitian journal called Haiti Liberté that regards Jimmy Cherizier to be a genuine revolutionary. But I've also been following the pronouncements of a brother who I find very impressive, a brother by the name of Haiti, who is quite clear, and he's not the only one, by the way, but he stands out for me because of how impressive I find his narrative and his depth of analysis on the issues, and just his spirit. I just love his spirit. He just seems like a genuine, sincere spirit, and he states quite convincingly and categorically that Jimmy Cherizier barbecue is a CIA agent, or was a CIA agent. Certainly, he was a close associate of Jovenel Moïse. That's the president who was killed in 2021, July 2021, who is certainly was in the pocket. In fact, he was handpicked by Martilly, Sweet Mickey, you know, Sweet Mickey's protege, as it were. And apparently one of his beneficiaries was Jimmy Cherizier. He worked for Preval, not Preval. He worked for Jovenel Moïse, and he appears to be very angry at the assassination of Jovenel Moïse, not least also because Ariel Henry, the present so-called president, I think he's resigned now, who was never elected, and who the Americans seem to want to put in place, or the so-called core group want to usher in the seat of the presidency, has been implicated in the assassination of Moïse. Moïse, as I said, is barbecue's benefactor. He worked for him, according to sources. And so it seems that his anger is much because of, and his anger towards Henri and his stance that Henri must not come back in the country. And because he's being supported by the so-called international community, he's saying that no foreign forces must come in to Haiti. So if that analysis is correct, then it would render barbecue a falsity, not a genuine revolutionary. But then, you know, as I said,
can I get some clarity there? Are you saying that barbecue was saying that the foreign forces must come in?
No, must not. Must not.
Yeah, must not come in. Right. Yeah. I think we do know from our sources as well on the ground. He definitely was a CIA agent, and he was working on behalf of the US. He was a US trained officer. Apparently on road now. Apparently, well, so the story goes that, you know, he's actually turned now against the state, so to speak, well, the external forces, and is meant to be for the people now.
The question begs, why has he now turned against the so-called international community, the imperialist forces? Is it because he is genuinely for the people, or is it because he's angry that his benefactor was assassinated nearly 3 years ago, and that Henri, who the international community are supporting now, has been implicated in Moise's assassination?
Try to frame him.
That is a question that is a valid question that we need to address.
Most definitely. That might have been a motivating factor. That might have been, you know, what opened his eyes when he realized that he was going to be a victim, another victim of the wickedness of the evil state. Then he realized, oh, hang on a minute, I'm just knocking on my door. I better jump fence and join, you know, the revolutionary.
Well, in fact, as these things as these things work out, as these things usually go, I mean, supporters of Moise have been assassinated, you know, before and since his assassination. Yeah. And so it could well be
genuine reasons to feel that he was next or on that list.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's far more complex.
Yes.
And meets the eye. It really is a lot more complex, beloved brothers and sisters.
Yes.
You know,
okay.
it kind of reminds me of
the chats and see if we can bring in a couple more questions or points. Go ahead. SP says no Kenyan troops will be going. Okay, so that port challenge seems to have been successful. Leader, do you think that that's what the Jamaicans need to do to stop Jamaica getting involved? I mean, we heard very clearly, you know, when he was laying the context that, you know, this is a country that inspired countries like Jamaica to fight for their independence. This is the country that inspired and helped and assisted so many nations that threw its doors open to enslaved Africans to come in, you know, to find freedom. This is a country or an island that we all owe so much to. Why would these Caribbean countries, you know, why are they so spineless as to want to, you know, now go in with the Canadians and the French and the US and do dirty bidding?
Ironically, you know, my sister, Bookman Doty came from Jamaica. He was born in the motherland, Senegambia, and when he was brought in slavery in the Caribbean, he was brought to Jamaica. And he left from Jamaica because he was so rebellious. He was taken out of Jamaica and he was placed in Haiti. Yeah. And he is the person who sparked the 1791 revolution that came to fruition in 1804. Yeah. Desaline's great grandson, who I mentioned just now, Cincinnatus LeConte, who took his great grandfather's name, also had to escape Haiti before he became president. Also had to escape Haiti, and he's found refuge in Jamaica before he came back and overturned the president who was in power at the time. And of course, I spoke about Aristide. It was a Jamaican MP with a US-based congresswoman and our elder Randall Robinson, who went on a plane to Central African Republic and retrieved.
So, what was then? Who do we have now in Jamaica that needs to be working to, you know, campaign against their government's decision to go along with these white nations?
Not only that, you know, not only that, you know, it's painful, Sister Shanice. It really is. I mean, sometimes we can, as a people, overall, we can as appear looking from the lens of these nation states, these neo-colonial nation states, that they can be so spineless. You look at the history of Haiti, and you see a clear case of war crimes, crimes against humanity, violation of human rights, genocide.
Yeah.
Just like
you didn't even get on because of time to talk about the earthquakes that we strongly suspect were deliberate, using weather manipulation weapons, and the cholera.
Absolutely, cholera. Listen, I'm glad you mentioned that, sis.
The earthquakes. It's been relentless. Yes.
Yeah, 10 times more. No, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I don't think we can rule out the possibility of this earthquake being artificially, caused.
Yeah.
Because the only question we need to ask ourselves is, do they have the technology to simulate an earthquake? And they do, right? And the next question is, do they have the mindset to do something like that? Well, we don't even need to think hard. Yeah. So one, they have the means. Two, they have the mindset or the motive, if you will. Yeah. And certainly have the opportunity. We talk about means, motive, and opportunity when we consider crimes that are being committed. So and it's interesting that this earthquake was the first for over 200 years that Haiti had suffered an earthquake, and the worst that Haiti had ever suffered. Yeah.
Yes, and the date of it was quite significant as well, wasn't it? I know you're on the dates. I think it was almost on the anniversary of one of their main dates. We'll have to look at.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, and I think you are correct.
Of January or something.
Yes, it happened in January 2010. I'm trying to remember what date.
Okay, carry on. I'll look it up.
It certainly happened in January 2010. And then by October 2010, there was a cholera outbreak. Now, the United Nations has accepted that it was its soldiers that caused the cholera outbreak by contaminating
never be allowed to step foot back in the country again.
River.
I've just glimpsed at the time. I can't believe we've gone over time already. Wow, the time just always goes so quickly.
I know.
When we have you on the show, and your it's like your storytelling abilities are just has everybody gripped. You could do like a one-man stand-up theater and just tell a story about our history, and the place would be in silence, and we'd be in awe and listening. But wow, Ldr Mbandaka, family, you've done it again to us, brother leader. You've left us just so well informed and But, you know, you've also, I feel, left us feeling that we owe Haiti so much. All of us, we owe her so much. And she is still continuing to be punished because of the sacrifices that they made for us.
That's right.
I think every single one of us needs to be asking ourselves, what can we do to help Haiti? Let me allow you to close out, please, Brother Leader.
Yes,
with words and suggestions maybe about what we can do and where we go forward from here in terms of trying to support Haiti, please.
Tendai Mwari, we owe a debt to Haiti. And let me just say very quickly, because we just mentioned the earthquake of 2010 and the cholera outbreak. I want to remind us that 250,000 Haitians perished in the earthquake. 250,000 Haitians perished. Hundreds of thousands more were injured, some of them life-changing injuries. Let us think about that, beloved brothers and sisters. 1.5 million to 2 million Haitians were left homeless as a result of the devastating earthquake that I do not readily accept was simply an act of God, a natural disaster. The cholera outbreak, anything between 10 to 30,000 people perished as a result of the cholera outbreak. 800,000 to 1 million people have contracted cholera since then, and the effects of that are still plaguing Haiti today. People are still dying from the effects of that cholera outbreak. People are still contracting life-changing illnesses. And that cholera outbreak, they say it was accidental. I don't believe it was accidental. But we know for a fact, and the United Nations has accepted, that it was their soldiers that contaminated the river stream that caused this cholera outbreak. I believe Haiti has a case for the International Court of Justice, just like we saw South Africa bring a case against Israel. Now, even though it's their court system, it's a world stage. And Haiti's story needs to be told. Some African nation need to be brave enough to stand up for Haiti and bring a case against the United States of America, France, and the United Nations for crimes against humanity, war crimes, violations of human rights, and acts of genocide. Did you hear me? Mm-hmm. That case needs to be brought so the world can hear Haiti's story. And we must now push for this. We must now demand this of these nation states. We must put them under pressure to stand up and be counted for Haiti. So I want to give thanks and praises for this little opportunity. I hope and pray that it will go some way to enlighten our minds as to the reality of what is happening in Haiti, as to the real source and cause of the problems in Haiti. Not gangs, beloved brothers and sisters. That's not the cause. That's a symptom. But the effect of American French imperialism and the cover that the United Nations has been giving this inimical force for decades. The way they have turned Haiti upside down and inside out, politically, economically, socially, and even physically, and in terms of the health of the people. And the solution to Haiti's problem has to be a Pan-African solution. Pan-African forces wrapping ourselves around Haiti, strengthening our people in Haiti so they can stand up and command their own sovereignty. But they will not be able to do it without a Pan-African, a strong Pan-African force behind them. Let it be known that they're up against an international force, the force of global white supremacy. It's not just one nation that they're up against. It's not even just the United States, although that nation is powerful enough to create headache for any nation around the world. But it's Canada, it's France, it's Germany, it's Brazil. Brazil has played a nasty role in Haiti. Time doesn't allow to go into that, beloved brothers and sisters. But let us stand up for Haiti. Let us stand strong and tall for Haiti. I close, as always, with the words of the most eminent prophet and king, His Excellency Marcus Mosiah Garvey, who says, unite, organize now or perish. Rise, you mighty African people, for you can accomplish whatever you will. Rumbidzo kunamwari Africa, to the God of Africa be the glory. Tendai Mari.
Ashe Tendai Mari. The big question there is, which African nations are going to come together and bring that case against those countries on behalf of Haiti? Obviously, all the people of Haiti will stand with those nations, and I'm sure the vast majority of Africans everywhere will be standing with those countries that decide to bring that case. Let's hope that it happens during our lifetime. Thank you so much, Brother Ldr Mbandaka, as always, for a very informative presentation. Thank you. Thank you to your family as well, each and every one of them. And to everyone in the audience, we thank you so much for listening. We thank you for all of your participation. Please do continue to post your questions underneath the video once you leave today. Thank you so much, family. Thank you for staying with us, even though we've gone over time. We much appreciate love. All being well, we'll be back same time next strong. Sister Shanice out of here for now. Bye for now, family.